Hello. So today's episode is all about how you can feel more abundant even if you have no money in your bank account right now and you totally don't feel like you have abundance at all. And this episode was actually a special request, and I'm so appreciative for all special requests. So if there's anything that you would like me to talk about, please just go over to rachelrofay.com and just post a comment and let me know. It's a win-win when you make special requests, because then you have episodes that you know you like, and I know that I'm creating things that people want to hear. So for this episode, it's not something that I normally talk about, abundance, but I'm really glad that it was requested because it's so helpful, I think, to be able to just create a mindset where you do think that you do just train yourself to feel abundant. Because there's different mindsets that you can have all the time. There's mindsets like scarcity, which is a general feeling of feeling like you don't have enough and wanting to just protect everything you have and constantly thinking about what you can't do or you don't have. And it's just a very miserable kind of feeling. So it just, people, when you're in scarcity, it's harder to breathe. Your body feels contracted. Maybe your shoulders are hunched in. And it just puts you in a fight or flight kind of feeling. Now, on the contrary, with an abundance mindset, it just feels better, right? And I know the word abundant, it may have different meanings for different people, so you can use whatever word you want, but the general thing that I'm saying when I say the word abundant is just this feeling of expansion and feeling like you're taken care of and you have more than enough, and just a general gratitude for what you have. And it's helpful to be in this kind of mindset because, physically, when you're in an abundance mindset, it gets you out of the fight or flight that comes with scarcity and constantly feeling like you don't have enough. So it makes you feel freer, and it just makes you feel like you can then, be happier. It also gets you to be more creative, and you're able to think more clearly. So obviously that feels better to be in an abundance mindset. And really, I talk about a lot the deathbed kind of litmus test. At the end of your life, do you want to feel like, you were in scarcity mode the entire time and miserable, or do you want to feel like you really made the most of your life? And I think that having the right mindset is going to be a very important step to having made the most of your life. So a couple things that I want to touch on. First of all, when I talk about having an abundance mindset, I feel like this is different than fake it till you make it, which I really don't like, actually. I think when I think of fake it till you make it, I think of inauthenticity and making people kind of try to make people think that you're something that you're not. But when I think of cultivating your mindset, it's just starting to tune your awareness into having life be awesome and feeling like you have a plentiful amount of things in your life. So it's just a way to kind of shift your consciousness and start looking for even more ways to feel great about what you have. I think it's also different from like law of attraction. I think the way that most people explain law of attraction is kind of lazy, and I don't really like it. And it's just, a lot of people explain law of attraction as, just think about what you want and then it will happen. And obviously there's work to do, which a lot of people leave out. And so the reason why I wanted to make this episode isn't for the fake it till you make it or for law of attraction, but I think it's just when you put yourself in that mindset of abundance, you're going to start to naturally think like an abundant person. And then you're going to start to make decisions in line with that. And once you do the work you're going to make those decisions, take actions based off of those decisions, and it's just going to have a domino effect. So hopefully all that makes sense. And so I'm just going to go over here. I have 21 different ways that you can feel more abundant in your life. So just listen now. This is going to be one of the shorter episodes. So just listen now, see what resonates with you. Maybe something or a couple things sound good for you right now. And then later on, if you feel like you've worn that out, come back, listen again, and pick something else. So let's get started. Number one, the first thing that you can do to feel more abundant is just start reframing things that you feel yourself start to complain about. So if you feel your thoughts shifting to something that doesn't feel so good, like maybe you start to think, ugh, my car is such a gas guzzler, it costs me so much money, then maybe reframe it, reframe it as, I'm really grateful to have a car at all. Or if you think about, let's say, your house and you think how you don't like it, think about how you're grateful to even have a roof over your head. So start to always look for the positives of whatever you're starting to feel yourself complain about. Number two, create gratitudes. So create gratitude lists and find things to appreciate. You know, I heard that even Oprah, who is crazy abundant, she used to make a list of 5 things every day that she was grateful for. And it's a great practice. If every day you just think of 5 things that you appreciate, even if it is as basic as what I was just saying, having a roof over your head, you start to just naturally attune yourself to find the positive things in your life, and then you start to feel better. Another thing you can do, it sounds counterintuitive, but start to get rid of stuff. It can actually be really freeing to just let go of things that no longer serve you because, energetically, I'm sure you know that when you've cleaned things out before, like when you clean out your closet, you just start to feel really good when you get rid of stuff. It just feels way more psychically, energetically freeing. But also you start to realize when you get rid of things that you have a lot of things. And if you're in a place where you can get rid of things, like you're super abundant, really. So that always feels good. I always love just cleaning out my closet, getting rid of things, and it just feels great. And it makes space for even better things to show up. Something else you can do, number 4, do something that feels really indulgent, and it doesn't need to be expensive. You don't have to spend money to feel indulgent. You can do things like take a long bubble bath or get some fruit, really slowly eat some fresh fruit. Maybe you get some strawberries and put some whipped cream on them. That's super indulgent. You can light a candle that smells incredible, make a delicious mug of tea, put some cinnamon sticks in it. I don't know why, but cinnamon sticks feel super indulgent to me. So all these things, they're really inexpensive, or you may even have some fruit already in your fridge, but they feel really good, and it starts to just help you realize the amazing things that are right in front of you. Number 5, turn off the news. The news, I think, is just the most negative, energy zapping thing that I can think of. I do not like the news at all. It's all about murders and kidnappings and robberies and just horrible stuff. And I know that a lot of people love the news and they feel like, well, this is how I know what's happening in the world. But just look at the reality is that proportionately, there's not that many murders in the world. It's a lot less than what the news would have you think. If you watch the news, it's like the world is full of murders and robberies and all this stuff. But that's not actually the case. There's a lot of other things happening in the world. And so just constantly, every single night or every morning or reading the newspaper or whatever, it's just only flooding your consciousness with negativity. So I think, personally, I don't like to watch it. I don't think you're getting real proportional news. I think there's a lot of other ways to educate yourself without having to be flooded with that stuff. And actually, personally, I love goodnewsnetwork.org. So that one I think is better to put your mind into. And that one is it will give you a whole bunch of awesome things that are happening. I love that site. Another thing you can do, number 6, is share what you do have. So maybe you share some of your knowledge with people who can use it. Maybe you have some knowledge around whatever you do for your job, or you give some time to people in need. So maybe you volunteer for an afternoon or something, or help a friend or family member do something. Because when you start to share what you have, you start to realize that you have amazing things. You have amazing gifts that people can really benefit from. Even if it's just a couple hours of your time, people would really appreciate that. And it helps you to realize that you are very resourced. Number 7, look to see how you can make everything a win-win. So if you operate from the mindset that there doesn't have to be a loser in situations and that everything can be a win-win, you start to open yourself up to find winning situations. You know, the stories that you tell yourself, that's what makes up your reality. So if you tell yourself the story that there can be a win-win out of everything, then you're going to start to find things that you wouldn't normally think of. And a lot of times, it's just, maybe you don't immediately think of something that's a win-win, but just keep telling yourself, look harder, and you'll be shocked to see how many things can feel really good for people, even if it feels in the meantime like you're in a lose-lose situation. So actually a great example that I just talked to my friend yesterday, and she told me that she was going to be late on her rent and she was really nervous about talking to her landlord. And she ended up talking to her landlord, and she offered, he loves her oatmeal raisin cookies. So she offered to make him a bunch of the oatmeal cookies, and not to, I guess it could be considered a bribe, but whatever. He was really happy with it because she was just going to be a week or two late. He got the cookies, wasn't that big of a deal, and it felt like she could breathe easier because she just found a way where it didn't feel like she was just taking from him. So, I know that's a funny little thing, but there's all kinds of win-win kind of situations. So just look for something that can feel good for everybody. Number 8. Again, going with the kind of thing that your stories make up your reality. Why don't you have the story that everything's happening for your highest good? Because when you have that belief and you start to think that everything is always happening for your highest good, then you just start to automatically look for the benefits in everything. You start to just feel more protected and more blessed by the universe. You just start to feel like everything is happening for you positively. And even if, I know people sometimes like, oh, I don't know if that's really true, but again, even if it's not true, it feels a lot better to believe than otherwise, right? So you may as well say it because it just feels better. Number 9, just ask yourself in every moment, what can I do in this moment to feel more abundant? See what comes up for you. We have so many answers within us when we just ask ourselves the right questions. Number 10, don't compare yourself to what other people have. In this world of social media, it's just so easy for people to make it look like they have these perfect lives and just nothing going wrong. And the reality is, nobody has a perfect life. Nobody does. And it's so easy to just get sucked in. They say Facebook is such a major cause of depression for so many people because everyone's constantly comparing themselves to other people. Please just get validation from yourself. So instead of being in a constant lose situation, because when you compare yourself to other people, you're going to constantly lose because we all have different lives. We're all here for different reasons. You can never have someone else's life because it's theirs. So you can never win because you're never going to have their life. So instead, play games that you can win, get your validation from yourself, and just do the other things that I talked about to help you realize how much you actually do have. Number 11, get yourself out of thinking of short-term wins. So, when I was doing a lot of internet marketing teaching, I would get these emails from people saying, how can I make $30,000 by next month? I absolutely need it. And if you haven't made that much before, then you're just thinking short term, you're thinking a month's time, you're probably not going to be able to make that much. Those people, they're not going to be able to make that much money that quickly in most cases. I get there's exceptions to every rule, but when you start to, instead of thinking short term, you start to expand your awareness to long term, then you start to be able to breathe. You're not in this like fight, try to get these short term wins. And you start to cultivate real wealth for yourself. So, and the other thing with the short term is just look at, instead of making decisions that feel good in the moment, realize that your decisions are always the reaction of your reality is always the outcome of the small choices that you make now. So Just think about things that are going to serve you in the long term. And even having that mindset of long term versus short term, it's just going to help snap you out of that immediate scarcity, like what's right in front of me right now. And it's going to help you think a bigger picture, which is always more freeing. Number 12, learn something completely new. When you start learning about brand new things, you start to just realize how vast the world is and how there's just so much more out there than we think about. So it just helps you also realize like there's more than what our limited consciousness can tell us about. So go take a class, go take like a flower making class or a beer making classes, whatever sounds good to you. Just something that you haven't learned yet, just so that you can start to open your awareness and see how much more there is out there. Next thing, number 13, do a morning routine. So I'm a huge proponent of Hal Elrod's Miracle Morning book. If you haven't listened to my interview with him yet, I highly recommend it. I love it. He talks about all these different things that you can do every morning to just set yourself up with a really great mindset and feel really good throughout the day. And when you set up your mindset every morning, the way that he talks about, it's true. You just start waking up so happy, you're excited to get out of bed, and it just works incredibly. If you haven't seen his book, he has like 350 plus 5-star reviews because people are doing it and they're feeling great. The next thing you can do, number 14, write out everything that would happen to you in an ideal day of abundance. So imagine that you are feeling totally abundant and just write out what it would be like for you. What would happen when you woke up? How would you feel? Where would you be? What would happen as you went throughout the day? What would you be doing? Who would you be talking to? What would it feel like, taste like? I mean, get a very visceral kind of picture. And this isn't hokey stuff, like visualization, because I want you to then visualize this day, every day. Visualization is extremely powerful. There's an awesome book called Psycho-Cybernetics that talks about this. There's a lot of science that talks about the power of visualization. There was actually even a study, I talked about this in my group on Facebook, but there was a study done at the University of Chicago. And what it was they had 3 different groups of people, and they were all studied to see how they would improve their basketball performance. So one group, just every single day for an hour, they actually practiced free throws, just seeing how many free throws they could make. The second group, all they did was visualize themselves making free throws. So they never went to the basketball court or anything like that. They were just visualizing in their mind, throwing the ball and having it go into the hoop and make it. And then the third group did absolutely nothing. So after 30 days, they were all tested again. The first group improved by 24%. The second group improved by 23%, and they didn't even touch the basketball. And then the third group didn't improve at all. So you can see, just visualizing was almost as powerful, just 1% less than actually practicing. Visualizing is so powerful. So if you feel called to do that one, I definitely recommend it. And even just when you're visualizing, you're feeling it in your body, and so you're feeling that abundance experience on a more frequent basis and everything that it would be like to have abundance. Number 15, play. Just go and have fun. A lot of us get in scarcity mindset when we're taking ourselves too seriously. And one of the best things we can do is just snap out of it and go do something fun. So if you haven't listened to the podcast with Becca Piastrelli yet, I highly recommend that one. It's I think it's called Why Dabbling with Lots of Things Can Help You Be Happy. She has lots of different great tips on how you can just dabble and explore and enjoy life. Number 16. Write thank you cards or emails. Write to people and tell them how much you appreciate things that you've done for them. This is really fun because it's fun for you to think about all the different things you can appreciate people for. It's fun as you're writing the cards to think about how people are going to feel when they receive them. And it just feels really good for everybody. It's a total win-win. Number 17, leave reviews. Reviews are so helpful to people. So podcasters, I know for me, whenever I get good reviews, I feel really appreciative because it really helps a lot. Authors for Kindle books or any kind of book, reviews help them a lot. People who have courses. So I actually even have on my to-do list, like take some actions to get more reviews on my Udemy courses. So all of those things, reviews are so helpful for content creators. And when you leave positive reviews for people and you know how helpful it is for them, it's just, you can really feel like you're making a really big difference for them, and it helps you realize how powerful you are and how abundant you really are, because you do have that power to help somebody so much, even with a small review. Another thing that you can do is go out into nature. A lot of us are stuck on the computers all day. If you haven't listened to Chad Hatzel's podcast, there's a lot of references here to different podcasts, but we had some really great ones. Chad Hatzel talks about how happiness comes down to 4 different things, and one of them, he says, is time out in nature. So when you go out in nature and you just realize the beauty that we have at our fingertips all the time, and just think about Mother Earth and just all the magic that goes into just having this world to be here for us, it's very perspective changing. Number 19, set a goal to do something that makes you feel abundant. So figure out, what would something tangible be for me that would feel abundant, and then create the goal to do it. And then you can work backwards and actually make that goal happen. So if you go to rachelroffe.com/goalbook, I have an entire book on how to do this if you want some help on that. It has a ton of different details. It's like $2.99 or something, so it's really inexpensive, but it has an entire goal process if that's something you want support with. Number 20, share how you're feeling with other people. So it always feels awesome to be able to speak kind of however you're feeling, speak your shame, speak the scarcity, whatever. And then when you get support with people, so obviously you'd want to talk with people that you feel like could support you and would help you feel better. So once you do that, you're going to realize that you're not in this alone. And that always feels really good, to just realize that you have people that will help you. And you have people that will help you, and you're connected, and you've got this. Number 21, listen to positive music that makes you feel great. I mean, you know how you can hear a song that you haven't heard in years, and then all of a sudden you'll just know the lyrics and you'll be singing along with it all over again? I mean, that's because the lyrics of music, they're really powerful. They stay in your brain. And instead of training your brain to remember lyrics that aren't so beneficial, instead, why not train your brain to start to remember lyrics that remind you just how awesome you are, how amazing you are, how you can be happy. There's so many great positive playlists out there. If you go do a search on Spotify, if you're not on Spotify, it's free, and just do a search for positive playlists. There's a lot out there, and you can just start to make your own playlist of songs that make you feel really good. And then your brain will start to, again, just look for things that make sense with those lyrics. So those are 21 different things that you can do. I hope that this helps you, and I hope you got some good ideas. Again, feel free to just pick 1 or 2 now, see how it works, and then when you want more, go back and listen to the other ones. And if there was anything here that you liked and you want more detail on, just let me know. So either request new episodes, or if you want more detail on any of these things that I talked about, just let me know. I would love to expand on anything that seems like people want to hear about it. And I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you later.